The day the board locked the conference room and whispered, "You'll never prove your theory," felt like the moment the world tilted on its axis. I watched the glass panes swing shut, the click reverberating through my chest, and I realized that the only thing louder than their scorn was the roar of a purpose I could no longer ignore. I walked out of that sleek glass tower clutching a battered laptop containing the only fragment of an ancient code I had managed to coax from a crumbling parchment. My family, my mother's gentle sighs, my father's impatient chuckles, had already turned that fragment into a joke. A painter, a game maker, a cryptic archaeologist, they would say, their voices dripping with the certainty that I was an embarrassment to the family name. Painful departure became my silent oath. I left the house in the middle of a storm, my suitcase half filled with notebooks, half filled with the weight of a promise I had made to myself. I moved into a derelict research outpost on the outskirts of the Sahara, where the sand swallowed everything that dared to hope. There, among broken wind turbines and rusted metal, I began the relentless pursuit of a dream that everyone called ridiculous. Every sunrise found me hunched over encrypted tablets, coaxing whispers from centuries-old ciphers. I chased the faintest patterns in Roman military logs, in medieval merchant receipts, in lost tribal chants, each one a potential key to a future that could protect data from quantum assaults. The world called it an impractical obsession with the past. I called it a lifeline. My only tools were a caffeine-stained notebook, a stubborn curiosity, and a stubborn belief that history held a map forward. Weeks bled into months. My research, once dismissed as a hobby, sprouted into something unimaginable. I cracked a medieval merchant's ledger that revealed a forgotten algorithm for balancing water distribution across arid landscapes. The same mathematical elegance that guarded secrets now protected the future of agriculture. I built quantum-resistant encryption modules that could be embedded in every irrigation sensor, ensuring that data about soil moisture, solar exposure, and crop health would never be intercepted or corrupted. And then, miraculously, the barren dunes began to bloom. What had once been a cracked wasteland transformed into a verdant oasis, its green ribbons stretching farther than anyone had dared imagine. The same protocol that secured digital vaults now safeguarded the life of seedlings. My work, once mocked as an obsession with dead letters, rewrote the very language of survival for a dying planet. Years later, the world finally noticed. Governments signed contracts, NGOs built farms on our model, and a multinational consortium invited me to present at a summit in my hometown, a place where I had once been told I would amount to nothing. I arrived at the old family home, now stripped of its faded wallpaper, with a sleek electric vehicle humming quietly outside. The porch light flickered, casting a soft halo over a table set for one. My mother stood in the doorway, eyes wide as saucers, her hands trembling around a cup of tea she could no longer afford to pour. My father, who had once smirked at my impractical fascination with ancient codes, stared at the holographic display hovering above the kitchen counter. It projected a 3D model of the oasis we had revived, each pixel pulsing with the rhythm of secure data flowing between seeds and soil. "Mirror asterisk, look at this," I whispered, swiping my hand through the air. The desert sands turned emerald before their eyes. What we once thought was a whisper in the past became a shout for the future. The room fell into a stunned silence. My younger brother, who had once rolled his eyes at my weird business, now stared, jaw slack, as the hologram revealed the thriving farms that stretched across the same barren land that once fed only cactus. My mother's eyes glistened with tears she tried desperately to hide. "I'm sorry," she breathed, voice cracking like dry twine. "We were wrong, we were afraid of the unknown." I felt the familiar sting of betrayal melt into something softer, a compassionate ache that reminded me why I had endured. I didn't need an apology, I needed a moment to let them see the magnitude of what we had built together, an empire of security and sustenance that began with a dismissed idea and a broken heart. "Look," I said, turning the hologram toward them, "these crops are not just surviving, they are thriving because every plant's health is encrypted, observed, and protected from external threats. The same technology that now safeguards our nation's secrets also safeguards our grandchildren's meals." A soft gasp escaped my father. You turned a dismissed theory into a lifeline for the whole region." His voice shivered with a mixture of awe and remorse. "We mocked your obsession with the past." I let them speak, listening as each syllable became a stepping stone back toward understanding. My sister, who had once ridiculed my useless hobby, pressed her palm to the cool glass of the hologram, as if feeling the pulse of the revived earth through it. The night unfolded with a quiet, powerful reckoning. My family, clutching at the remnants of their former certainty, finally acknowledged that every laugh, every dismissive glance had been a catalyst, an unexpected push that forged my resilience. The pain of rejection turned into a furnace, and out of it rose a new kind of triumph, not just for me, but for every dreamer who has ever been told they'd fail. When the meeting ended and the lights dimmed, the oasis outside my parents' window glowed under a moonlit sky, its gentle ripples reflecting a future we had once thought impossible. I stood hand in hand with my mother, her trembling hands now steady, and felt a deep, resonant peace. The lesson that settled over me like the soft dusk was simple yet profound. The world may scoff at your passion, but if you follow the thread of your obsession, it can weave a tapestry that not only saves you but also saves others. Our family's story, once riddled with ridicule, now carries a new chapter, one where the once mocked dreamer becomes the keeper of hope, and every skeptic is forced to confront the undeniable truth that destiny is reshaped, not by privilege, but by relentless perseverance. And in that moment, as the holographic garden swayed gently in the night breeze, I realized that the greatest encryption of all was not in code, but in the unbreakable bond forged between a heart that refused to surrender and a family that finally learned to listen.